Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Good. My name is Chris Hopkins. I'm a program manager on the Office team. Specifically, me and my team work on, I would say, manageability features for Office, meaning helping our admins get Office deployed and managed within their environments. I don't know if you caught my session yesterday on the deployment tools and the configuration that we do for Office Click to Run. But some of that is actually tied into this presentation. So, if you have questions afterwards, you want to stop by the booth and get more information. This is only a 20-minute presentation. There's a whole lot to talk about policy management for Office. So I encourage you all, come by and talk to us afterwards to get like the full deep story on this stuff. I plan to give you a real quick highlight on what our capabilities are, what our roadmap looks like, and give you a demo into what we have out in GA right now so that you can get out there and start playing with it and looking at it. Has anybody started looking at the Cloud Policy Service for Office yet? So actually got quite a few of you. Like it so far? Yeah? Okay. So what is this? How many of you are managing policies for your organization in any Microsoft product? Right? Okay, so the majority of you, right? Using group policy to do that for Office today? Yeah? Okay. Want to move those devices completely to the cloud? But group policy doesn't work in the cloud, right? So we were looking at this a while ago, and our team was like, hey, we got some customers that have come to us, and actually, this is actually some stuff that is based on customer feedback, because customers have come to us and said, hey, you know what, we want to completely move to the cloud. However, we have all these policies for Office that we manage, security baselines, stuff like that, and it's all managed on-prem with group policy, so we can't move off of our on-prem infrastructure and into the cloud. So we started taking a look at what would that take from an Office perspective to manage all of these things, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about, show you how all this stuff works. So we've got a brand new cloud service. It's part of the Office 365 offering, so if you're a ProPlus customer, this capability is available to you, right? There's no add-on SKU or anything like that you have to purchase to take advantage of the cloud policy scenario. It says 1,700 existing Office policies today. Again, think about group policy and just moving that workload to the cloud. It's as easy as thinking about it from that perspective, right? Like, we don't have any policies in the Office Cloud Policy Service that are different than what you have in group policy. It's basically a one-for-one migration into the cloud, right? So, I don't know, you're disabling macros for VBA, right? That's a common policy that people tend to configure in their environment. It looks exactly the same in group policy as it does in our Office Cloud Service, and I'll show you that in our demonstration. But there's a couple other things that are kind of interesting about the cloud service. Because it's a cloud service, it allows us to do a lot more than the group policy functionality did. One is direct integration into security baseline recommendations. And I'll say that up front because those of you that have already started playing with the Office Cloud Policy Service, you're probably saying, what do you mean security baselines? Like, I didn't see that in OCPS. This is something that we just are releasing right now. It's in preview. It'll be in the demo. You'll see it. But it's a way for us to be able to show you right there in the list of policies, like, hey, these are the recommendations. These are the recommended values. You can just easily click a button, deploy those recommendations, and you're done, right? It's like very simple to do that. Another very interesting piece of functionality is that bottom bullet there that says intelligent security policy recommendations, and I'll go a little bit into that as well. But like I said, we only have 20 minutes. Come by the booth. We can give you a full, drill down into these different capabilities, because I look at it as 3 levels, right? General policy, baseline recommendations from Microsoft, like just generically, hey, we recommend you set these in your organization, to a tailored security policy experience based on the usage of the features in Office, right? So the example I just gave you around VBA, right? You can turn macros off. I might be calling you to say, hey, I need this macro to do my job, and you're not going to know that unless I call you, right? Well, some of the features of the security policy recommendation engine that we have is we can tell you that you're impacting some people because they use macros in their day-to-day job, and you're basically now blocking them from doing that, and just kind of tell you up front what's going to happen when you enable that policy. And you know the why, I gave you some of the why already. Group policy doesn't allow you to do that in the cloud. What else about why? What about bring your own device? What about I go home and sign into my home PC as chris@microsoft.com, and I start pulling down documents and doing things where policies are not set, right? In that scenario, guess what? It's attached to me as the user, so if I'm signed into Office Online, Office on my corporate device, Office ProPlus on some other device, those policies are targeted to me by the admin, so they're going to take effect in all of those, in all of those situations. So how does this service work? There's basically two parts to it. There's the admin experience, where you sign into our service, you go configure the policies, and you target them to a set of users. And then there's the user experience where they sign into Office 365 using their Azure AD identity, and they have an Office 365 ProPlus license activated and assigned to them. And when they sign in, right, Office ProPlus connects to our service and basically asks, hey, I got Chris's identity. Are there any policies assigned to him? And our service figures out what security groups I'm part of, what policies are targeted to those security groups, and then sends those policies down to my device. So it's a pretty straightforward architecture. And like I said, if you're a ProPlus customer, just go sign into the portal today and start configuring policies. It's there. There's nothing you have to turn on or onboard or enable. If you're on, I would say, some of the latest versions of Office, because we shipped this a while ago. Actually, it GA'd last year in April. So your clients are probably already checking with the policy service to see if those users have policies assigned to them. So just keep that in mind, that it's probably already checking for you. Oh, so what have we been doing since last Ignite? So last Ignite, if any of you were here, we announced this in preview. So we didn't even have it working yet. We were looking for customers to work on a preview program with us and give us feedback. We did all that. We GA'd in April. I think the stats were like about 1.5 billion calls to our service as of last month. So there's a lot of traffic coming to our site for the policy service. But some of the things I've already mentioned, because general availability, but the security policy advisor feature, which was built on top of our core policy service, that didn't GA at the same time that the policy service did. I think we just GA'd the policy service like last month. I'd have to get my dates right, but, or actually it says September right there, so a couple months ago. And then on top of that, we've been working on cross-platform support. Back to my comment that I just made a little bit earlier. If I sign into Office Online, I'm still signed in as Chris Hopkins at Microsoft. It's still checking my identity. It can grab policies from the policy service and apply them in the Office Online environment, as well as my Win32 environment, right? And I don't know, we didn't really make any announcement yesterday, but yesterday we turned on the policy support for Office on Android. And so I can dig into those specific policy details, and we can talk about it more at the booth if you want to come by. But we're doing a whole lot more than that as well, and I'll go over the roadmap here in just a minute after we do a demo. The security baseline stuff, I hope to GA it at Ignite today. We're still working on some issues that we want to work out before we completely GA it, but it's in preview right now. And we hope to be able to GA that before the end of the month. So as we'll just go into the demo here, I'll show you where those security baselines will show up. Just switch over here to my desktop. All right. So to get access to this, if you come to config.office.com, I blew the screen up a little bit so we can see some of the text when we get into the policies. But there's a simple sign-in button. You sign in as an admin on your Office 365 tenant. So your global administrator, Your security administrator and your Office apps administrator can all have access to the deployment configurations as well as the policy configurations in our site. So if I sign in, this is a demo tenant that I have set up. You can see the navigation over on the left, and I have policy management selected. And over here on the right, you see a table of what we call policy configurations. So each one of those is a set of policies that I've configured with certain values, and then assigned that set to an Azure AD group, right? So when those users sign in, those policies get assigned to those specific users. So I'm just going to actually go through here and look at one that I've created. And it's pretty simple. I give it a name, I give it a description. You can see I've assigned it to a user group. That group in Azure AD and my demo tenant is named HR, not very descriptive, but let's say I'm creating a configuration to target all the employees of my HR department and my organization. And then when I click on configure policies down here, it's going to load up the full set of policies that are available today in the policy service. And I don't know in the back if you can see that, but it's got 1,710 policies that are currently loaded into the system. I don't know if everybody has counted the GPOs that are in group policy today for Office, but there's obviously a lot more than that. And one of the things that I want to point out is that we have two scenarios for policy management Office. We've got user-targeted policies and we got machine-targeted policies, right? A simple example is turning off macros for a user versus not allowing somebody to install ActiveX controls on a device, right? So it's kind of the difference between the machine and the user policies. At this point today, we only focus on user-based policies. And we're currently working on our device-based policy support for this quarter. So that'll probably be looking at like a Q1 preview type time frame for device policy support next year. But so if I go down through this list, let me just grab one of the non-security baseline policies just to give you an idea what this looks like. So I said it's a one-for-one migration from group policy. So again, if you go into group policy, you're going to see the same title, the same description, the same values that you can select, right? So there's no confusion as to what you're migrating over from group policy. You can simply, drop down the box, set it to enabled, click on OK, and now as soon as I configure that policy, that group of users is going to get that when they check in their next time, right, on their device. Now the security baseline policies, they're a little bit different because Microsoft has recommended this policy with a certain value set, right? So if I click on this particular policy, you can see the UI is a little bit different. Up here at the top it says, hey, this Microsoft is recommending this policy, and they're recommending that this policy be set as disabled. So if you just want that, you scroll down, you click the OK button. If you're not comfortable with that, you can always click manually configure and then go about setting the policy values to whatever values you want, right? But it's a simple way for the users to come in here and do something like, well, you know what? All I'm really interested in are the policies that Microsoft is recommending to my organization, and I'm going to go through and click and configure those specific policies as I see fit, right? So that gives you a quick way to go down through and view and see all that information. Now I'll take a step back to the main table view here, because right what you see here in the middle, you see this recommendation status column. And it says new recommendations available. This is information that's coming out of that policy advisor service that I was talking about that's built on top of our core tech. So when you create a policy configuration and target a group of users, there's some analytics that happen behind the scenes that look at, hey, who are those users and how are they using Office based on the telemetry that's in your tenant? And then it's coming up with recommended security policies that it thinks you should set within your environment, right? And so if I go and I click on one of these here, like the global HR again, it's given me a list of policies, and this feature is in preview right now, so that's why you see the preview tag. But it's given me a list of policies that says, hey, you've got a lot of Excel usage in your environment. Here's some Excel policies that we recommend that you set, and the values that we recommend you set these to, right? And so I can browse through these if I want and see a little bit more information about them. And this experience is a little bit different. I haven't configured this policy yet, but you can see a little bit different information in here. It gives you some information about what the threat is, why we're giving you this customized recommendation. There's even an interesting little toggle up here. Let me scroll down a little bit. It's called override. There we go. That if you're not quite sure about this policy recommendation, you can actually set allow user override, and then you can set the policy. And let's say, again, back to the VBA conversation, if I open up Office and I try to use a macro, and the admin has taken a recommendation that says, hey, you should disable VBA in your organization, but I say, yeah, that sounds like a great recommendation, but I'm not 100% sure. Let me turn that ability for the user to override that. When I open up a macro, Office is going to tell me that macros are blocked, but it's going to give me a special message at the top that says, hey, you're admin, you can request that this be overridden for your use case, right? And so that helps me out a lot, because I can open the macro, I can say, hey, I can't do my job. Oh, wait a minute, let me click this button, right? And the admin is notified that I've overridden that policy and I need to use that for my job, et cetera. Rather than the old traditional model of, why doesn't this work? Let me call support, finally get to an admin that says, yeah, I disabled macros. Like, nobody should use macros in the environment, right? And I need it for my job. But that's kind of how the security policy advisor works. So here it's got the recommendations. Over here it's got some that we've actually taken. So these are the applied recommendations over here on the right-hand side. And again, if I look at one of these, you can see that it's set. I can roll this back if I want, meaning that I can nullify the recommendation that I've set. And you can even see some of the usage metrics here that, well, currently, since you've set this policy, nobody's really been impacted. Nobody's been blocked by trying to use that Office feature after you've disabled it, right? So it gives you a little bit of analytics, too, behind the scenes there. So kind of 3 stages of policy management through this service. Let me go back over to the policy management view. Now, actually, let me go through the create process and just get you a different view here. So when you're going to do a creation event on the policy configuration, back to the earlier comment that I made about user and device, we don't have device in here yet. So you see the first one says configurations that apply to users. There's actually a second scenario here that is very specific to Office Online, where if I was to send you an anonymous link to a document, a Microsoft document, like let's say I wrote some spec and I send you a link to it anonymously, you don't have to sign in to Office 365 Online to view that document, right? But because I'm the admin and the tenant, if I want to allow my users to do that, there are certain policies that Office Online will support that I can still subject that user to. So if I want to say, yeah, anybody that's sharing anonymous content outside of our tenant with other people, like, I want to make sure there's certain policies that get enforced when those people are viewing those documents, right? So that's just a special scenario. We literally just turned on Office Online a couple weeks ago. You may have seen the announcements that we made about it. Right now, our cross-platform support is focused on the Office privacy policies. So those are the first set that you will see. And actually, if I let me scroll down here and see. I'll just pick user. Let me pick a group like legal. And then when I come into my policy list, I'll actually see platform right here. And I can sort this. So some of the policies that you'll see, platform will say Windows, Mac, iOS, or multiple in some cases, where if you set that policy, like what is this first policy here? Allow the use of connected experiences in Office. So if I'm to set that policy, it's going to affect all my targeted users that are on Windows and Mac. Mac's not even in preview right now, so that is coming very, very shortly after Ignite, but we're trying to get this service onboarded with all of our platforms on Office. So I think with that, let me switch back over to my deck. There we go. So like I said, it's pretty much available to everyone that has a ProPlus subscription. If you've got a business subscription, or like I said, Office Online right now, those products only support the privacy policies through the service. And then, like I said, we're doing a lot of work for Office mobile apps, more work on Office on the web for other policies. This usually comes up, which is, hey, if I'm in a special sovereign tenant, we haven't deployed this service to those tenants yet. But it's in all the commercial tenants as of now worldwide. So A3, education, government plans, and enterprise plans. But like I said, if you want more information on this, come by the booth, because we're doing a lot more stuff in the next couple of months. Device policy support is one of those that should come up really soon. And I'm hoping by the end of the year that we have these policies being pushed to any Office user on any of our devices or online experiences. So with that, thanks for coming to my session. And like I said, I'll be at the booth the rest of the week if you have any questions on our new policy service. Thank you.